Hey guys, welcome back. We recently had the opportunity to drive a GMC Hummer EV 3X for a few days. This vehicle has an MSRP of over $140,000 and is easily the most insane vehicle I've ever had my hands on. Let's take a closer look. This is a GMC Hummer EV 3X, which means that it has three motors, one that drives the front wheels and two that drive the rear wheels. It is an all-electric vehicle, all-wheel drive all the time, and has four-wheel steering. This particular model is in the color Neptune Blue Matte. It has adaptive air suspension and the tires are 305/70 R18. There are a lot of videos out there covering the specifications of the GMC Hummer EV. I'm not going to go into a deep dive of all the details. I just wanted to provide an overview of my thoughts regarding the vehicle, things I thought maybe other videos might have left out, and whether or not this is a legitimate overlanding vehicle. One thing I'd heard everyone say about the Hummer EV is that it is huge. After hearing people say this and then standing next to it for the first time, I was a little underwhelmed. While this is an EV, it is not to be compared to a Prius or a Tesla. A much more accurate comparison would be to a heavy-duty pickup truck. The maximum width of the Hummer without the mirrors is 86.5 inches, and the overall height is just under 78 inches. With the suspension lowered, we were able to fit it through our standard height garage door. Depending on the make and model and features of the heavy-duty pickup you are comparing it to, the Hummer EV is shorter in height and shorter in length than most crew cab four-wheel drive heavy-duty pickups. However, it is roughly 8 to 12 inches wider. Without a traditional engine, the Hummer EV offers ample storage space in the frunk. Simply press the button on the remote twice and it opens up, revealing the storage bags for the removable roof panels. These bags make it easy to store the panels when you're ready to take them off. Press the button twice again and hold it down, and the frunk lid closes. Moving to the back, the rear door is also automated. Just press the button twice to open it. Inside, there's plenty of storage, with a small cubby on the left for extra organization. You can fold down the middle row of seats with the press of a button, expanding the cargo area. With the seats down, the rear compartment is roughly the size of a full-size truck bed. There are also heavy-duty D-rings that can be used for recovery. Stepping into the driver's seat, let's check out the roof panel operation. Each panel has two levers. Simply pull the levers and the panels easily lift off. Despite their size, they're surprisingly light, easy enough for one person to handle. On the dashboard, the speedometer displays crisp graphics, and the center console gives you access to all of the Hummer EV's key features. You can easily switch between 5 different driving modes using the infotainment system: normal, off-road, terrain, tow haul, or customize your own with My Mode. I also heard that people complained about squeaks and creaks and poor general fit and finish. However, given that this vehicle went from concept to production in 2 years and contains a lot of cutting-edge technology, I'm willing to give GM a pass on some of these issues. But overall, I thought it was generally very high quality, but more refinement is needed. One-pedal driving mode is a feature I want to spend a little time discussing. When I first picked up the Hummer from the dealership, the one-pedal driving mode was turned off, so the accelerator and brake functioned as it would in a normal car. You press the accelerator to speed up and then let off the accelerator and apply the brakes to slow down. When the Hummer is not in one-pedal driving mode, you can only get a little over 100 miles out of a full charge. To take full advantage of a fully charged battery, you need to have the Hummer in one-pedal driving mode, which will push the mileage range for a fully charged battery to over 300 miles. I've heard several people say that they didn't care for the one-pedal driving mode, and I can understand their concerns. But driving the Hummer without the one-pedal driving mode engaged quickly becomes impractical due to the reduced range. When you engage one-pedal driving mode, you really need to do this in an area away from other cars and vehicles just so you can get used to the feel. After you get used to this mode, it is very intuitive and you rarely have to use the brake pedal. This mode allows for the recapture of energy when slowing down and recharges the batteries, thus extending the range. The model we test drove had air suspension. Given that this vehicle weighs nearly 10,000 pounds, I believe that the air suspension is a must. In addition to giving you the ability to easily change ride height, it also automatically adjusts to the road conditions to give you the smoothest ride possible. There were a few things that surprised me about the Hummer EV. Even though it is wide and long, four-wheel steering makes it very maneuverable. Four-wheel steering is engaged all the time, so no need to push a button or select a driving mode. The second surprise was crab walk mode. Crab walk was a little challenging to engage, but once we figured it out, it was no problem. This was a cool feature, and while it may be of some assistance off-road and in tight urban spaces, I view this as more of a novelty. The third surprise is acceleration. You can't do a Hummer EV review without talking about acceleration. While this vehicle weighed nearly 10,000 pounds, it was easily the fastest car I've ever driven from 0 to 60 miles per hour. The Hummer EV3X can go from 0 to 60 in a little over 3 seconds. And while that is very impressive, acceleration from 50 to 80 was just insane. I didn't have a good way of timing the acceleration from 50 to 80, but it seemed like it pulled even harder from 50 to 80 than it did from 0 to 60. Given all of the crazy acceleration, not once in the 2-day test drive did I ever hear any tire slip or tire squeal. Maybe this is fairly obvious at nearly 10,000 pounds, but the Hummer EV felt very planted in any situation. While I thought this was a crazy, over-the-top vehicle, you can't do a YouTube review without listing a few cons. The first con has to be the $140,000 price tag. I don't have $140,000 to spend on a vehicle, but if I did, this probably wouldn't be the one I would buy. The next concern I would have would be over reliability. The Hummer that we drove had approximately 700 miles on it, and obviously we had no problems, but I definitely would not want to own this vehicle without the benefit of a factory warranty. I didn't really care for the fact that the glass panels on the roof were only tinted. There was no way to black them out completely. I would like to see some way to black that out completely. This one is fairly obvious, but as an EV, there are challenges to recharging the batteries. Using this on-road wouldn't be any different than driving a Tesla or another battery-powered car. However, it does get more complicated if you're thinking about taking advantage of some of its off-road capabilities. If your battery dies on a trail somewhere, your only option is to have someone tow a diesel generator to you so you could recharge your batteries. And we've mentioned this previously, at nearly 10,000 pounds, the challenges of an off-road recovery become even more difficult. The Hummer is somewhere between 2,000 and 4,000 pounds heavier than the typical off-road vehicle. You would need stronger ropes, stronger shackles, and more powerful vehicles to recover it in the event it were to become stuck. And the final con is the backup camera. I have no doubt that this will be improved on future generations of the Hummer EV, but when you put it in reverse, a circular image pops up on the infotainment screen that is roughly 5 inches in diameter, and I've seen better video quality on children's toys than what we experienced with the backup camera. While it was still useful, you would expect more for $140,000. To wrap up this video, the Hummer EV3X is an amazing, over-the-top, insane, insert your superlative here, vehicle. But it is essentially a concept vehicle. GM took this from a literal concept to the showroom floor in 2 years, and it shows in certain areas. It's not a vehicle that I would spend $140,000 on, but if you get the opportunity to test drive one, you should definitely take advantage of it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more off-road builds and outdoor adventures.